So this is the video for April the 9th on Thursday. So this will be our last video until we come back next week. We are going to have a meeting on Zoom today, so if you can get on at 2 o'clock so we can have some conversations to make some decisions on certain things, I would appreciate it. So let's first of all look at our ISM book. So my ISM book looks this way because I made a couple mistakes, as you can tell, which is fine. So here I'm giving my list of things that I'm doing. So what I've done is I have went in my ISM book and I have made like a chapter 7, a chapter 8, a chapter 9, chapter 10, and here we are today, day 17 on energy power. So the first thing I want to talk about is in the book it talks about energy, and it actually has a letter E, and that is the ability for a system to produce change in itself and the world around it. That is a definition. So my definitions today I'm going to do in purple, and it says the next one is a work energy theorem, and that is work being done on a system, result of a change of a system's energy. And then I have an equation, which is work equals the change in the system's energy. That is measured by 1 joule, which equals 1 Newton per meter, and 1 kilogram per meters per second squared. And then it also gives me another definition of what work is transfer of energy that occurs and the force is applied through displacement. Now, here I'm changing into a different section of the reading assignment. So this is kinetic energy, is energy associated with motion. Translation, kinetic energy is energy due to the change in position. And then I have a formula. Kinetic energy, translation, kinetic energy is 1/2 of the mass times the system's speed. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I have that where we're talking about power. So for power, it is the rate in which energy is being transformed. So we have an equation, P equals change in E over change in time, over time. Also, P can also have to do with work divided by time. Power is measured in watts. 1 watt equals 1 joule per second. And then we start with our practice problems. Now, our practice problem, it was giving us a scenario. And it says here that an electric motor has lifted an elevator 9 meters in 15 seconds. So it's 9 meters in 15 seconds, exerted an upward force of 1.2 times 10 to the 4th, and it's asking us what is the power of the motor produced in kilowatts. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our numbers that we have here, we're going to put it in our calculator. So here we have a formula, but first of all I need to check to see what mode my calculator is in. I have it in degrees from the other day, so I'm changing it. And so now I'm going to probably change it to scientific. And so then I'm going to do alpha y enter. And then I'm going to do open bracket 1.2 times 10 caret 4 over close bracket open bracket 9.00 close bracket down 15.0. And when I do that I get 7.2 times 10 to the 3rd. And if I wanted to change that to normal mode, the answer is also 7,200 kilowatts. So the next thing is we're going to the sample problems, which are a practice problem, which are underneath there. So the first one, number 10, says a 570 Newton box is lifted straight up at a distance of 20 meters. Attached to a cable. The box moved with a constant velocity of a job of 10 seconds. What is the power in watts and kilowatts? So what I'm going to do here is, here's my force, here is my distance, and here's my time. I'm going to do my alpha y, enter again, open bracket 5.75, close bracket, open bracket 20, close bracket, go down 10.0, and then I'm going to hit enter, and I get 11.5. But it's wanting it in scientific mode, so I'm going to change it to scientific. That's telling me it's 1.15 times 10 to the third, or 1.5 E1. Kilowatts is my answer, and to be able to get that, I would divide by 100. So I would move it over, and I would add it to a 3 there. Make sense? Yes. Number 11. A push wheelbarrow has a distance of 60 meters at a constant speed of 25 seconds, exerted 145 Newton force horizontally. What is the power do you develop? So we're going to take our 145 times 60 divided by 25.0, and we get 348. B says, if you move the wheelbarrow twice as fast, how much is the speed power? And it's going to double, so you take that number and double it, and that's where you get 696. Question number 12 says, what power does a pump develop to lift 35 liters of water per minute at a depth of 110 meters? So, and it says 1 liter of water is equal to 1.0 kilograms of it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my 35 and I'm going to divide that. Well, it says here where M divided by T is 35 milliliters times 1.0. Thus, P equals M divided by T times G times D. So I have 35 milliliters per minute times 1. And then I take my 1 minute over 60 seconds so I can change it as far as time. And then gravity is 9.8. And then 110 is my distance. And so that is 12. Question number 13 says an electric motor develops 65 kilowatts of power that lifts the elevator 17.5 in 35 seconds. How much force does the motor exert? So then I'm just going to take my power times my times divided by my distance, and then I get 1.3 times 10 to the 5th. Then the last part is talking about speed and power. And so for speed and power, we have a formula. P equals Fxd divided by T. However, V equals D divided by T. Power can be calculated using P equals F times V. Combination of modern force, modern speed will produce the largest amount of power. So that there is for this section today. Like I said, we are going to have a Zoom meeting today that I would like you to come to so that we can talk about what we want to do with the rest of the year. Like I said, you only have until the 14th to do this. So here are the things I'm thinking about. Number one, that I might just post for 1 week. And for that week, I would put down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to keep you on task. You would have a daily a daily assignment where you would go and you would do the reading in the 1-pager every day. And then there would be a quiz sometime during that week. And then also you would take your test on Friday and you would have to submit everything at one time. I am going to go back into Power School probably tomorrow and change some grades. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and take day 1 through 4 and I'm going to combine them together and divide by 4 and give you a grade for that week instead of having 17 days of low work. I'm going to do it that way, and then I'm going to take your test and put them in, and then I'm going to assign something as a quiz level, and I'm going to put that in. Just remember, you only have a couple more weeks. You have tomorrow off and all next week. May I suggest, if you have any free time and you're bored, please get on and do any makeup work so that we can get all caught up so we could be on the same page. I hope you have a great Easter. I just want to let you know that I do love you and I do miss you, and I hope all is well.